everyone, it's the You Trash Crew, and we are doing very sensible things before we come on live, so you don't have to worry about our professionalism at all. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week. Wow, that's very strong energy. I like saying that. I hope you're all having a fantastic week. I hope you're having a fantastic February. It's almost over. Then it's March. It's been March for the past year, arguably, so maybe when things come full circle, you'll feel that the world has turned. Maybe things are a bit different. You'll open the window, close it again in case the vapors come in, and then resume your normal duties. We're all great, and this is Star Trek Iskandar. I want to draw particular attention to our new theme song. It's fantastic. And Lou and Rich deserve tremendous applause for creating possibly the most concentrated, distilled Trek theme that has ever existed. It's great. So, is there anything else I'm supposed to talk about? I don't think so. No. Helps and hinders are a thing. Helps and hinders are a thing that will be great because the Iskandar is in a heap of trouble. You can hang out in the chat and accrue trash bags, which when you're not irresponsibly gambling away, you can spend. He says, I did last week. I only realized I had trash bags last week and I lost like 100,000 of them. So you can spend those on helps and hinders.
Don't gamble, kids.
You have to help, or sorry, something just happened that's distracted me completely. You spend them on helps and hinders, minor helps and hinders, and I'll apply those as soon as they come up, really. You can also spend human currency for moderate and major helps and hinders using the doobly-doo, which I'm given to understand is below the screen. Remember that hinders cost 1 bright Canadian cent more, so that we can tell what they are when they come through. If you do drop a major help or hinder, that won't come up yet, and that will not be a conversation with me. That will be something that happens in a future session that you'll have to talk about with these clowns I'm GMing.
You have a help left over from last session.
I do, and you know the really weird thing is I have one of the worst memories of anyone I know, and while I was writing up the notes for today's session, I went, Frey McFuzzles redeemed a minor help. And I don't know where that came from, but I remembered it. So yes, I've remembered it. We are opening with a minor help. So let's recap last week's events. Who'd like to talk about some events? We've got sort of kind of 2 stories going on at once.
Athan's was pretty simple. The ex-president is probably being influenced by someone to support the protectorate of the Romulans, who are the naughty, mean ones who've staged a vicious military takeover, frankly. Let's not beat around the bush.
Wow.
And Athan has sent his subordinate to go stick her nose in by buttering her the fuck up, so that we can try to get the continuing committee, who are the nasty but regular, like.
Excellent. Very neutral. Yeah.
Yeah. they all suck. They're all Romulans, but some of the military ones who've done a takeover and some of the asshole politician ones who've been ousted.
Yeah. Yes, and the former president and now diplomat, like a bad penny, will not flush. Wait, is that a thing? Oh, whatever.
Space George W. Bush is probably being influenced to back the military coup.
Yes, Space Bush, who has a disproportionate amount of influence over these civilian diplomats, is on the cusp of formally recommending that the slightly nastier, apparently, Romulan faction are to be supported. And meanwhile, Isidore, what's been happening on the old Iskandar?
Much, really. Just hanging 10, cracking wise.
Yeah, cracking wise.
And of course, the Iskandar earlier in the adventure picked up a Vulcan pilgrim by the name of Lashar, who turned out to be possibly only one of those things, as she was a Vulcan who'd been living on Romulus, and owing to the political turmoil was on the run when we picked her up. She had been on the ship for some time, and we started off just keeping her for her safety, and then we got suspicious, and Vance got even more suspicious as the away team left, and turned out she had a bomb on her ship. But it's fine. So that's fine. That's normal.
Completely normal thing for a Vulcan to have, yep.
Everyone should have anti-Romulan measures on their ship. It's reasonable. But unfortunately, I think when we left them, they were on the cusp of engaging in some sort of combat.
Yes. So with Lieutenant Vance in command of the Iskandar, you received a hail suggesting outrageously and completely incorrectly that the Iskandar was in violation of Romulan space when the Iskandar refused to depart. A warship has decloaked and has charged weapons. So we're going to go into a ship combat. This ship is...
Also, there's the wreckage of the Berenike, like right there.
Oh yes, and there's the wreckage of the Berenike with some of your crew.
Oh, sorry. So you said what's going on board the Iskandar. I assume
sorry,
we're going to go to someone else to say, and what's happened to the away party?
Oh, sorry. I apologize. When I said on the Iskandar, I meant as a synecdoche for that half of the story.
Oh no, I said everything out of turn. Then there's also an away mission that's happening, and Iskandar's on it, dealing with that stuff on the Berenike, and everybody's dead or gone. It's very bad.
Yes, there are no bodies on board the Berenike, except for one who is still alive, but only barely, and that is Captain Redan, who both is not and was a classmate of Zala and Talandra's. In that he is Trill, and his symbiont's previous host was a classmate of theirs many years ago. So yes, I think you're all sort of on the shuttle, but you're staying where you are because you can see from the shuttle sensors that, some stuff's happening, and maybe that's not really a thing you're welcome to try and contribute to it.
I think our goal is just to get back to the Iskandar in one piece.
Yeah, I think the better part of valor is discretion where that's concerned. So we're going to go into a fight. There's just a couple of things. You've got the ship's sort of stats and things like that. There's one thing I want to go into. You've got a stat on your character sheet, on the ship's character sheet, called shoal risk. When that's filled up, you're caught on a shoal and you can't move. Pretty much anything you do that involves moving, which is everything you do because it's ship combat, will increase this by 1. Particular maneuvers might increase it by more than that. Elaborate maneuvers might increase it by 3. You can decrease your shoal risk. The helm officer can make a roll, or the engineering officer can make a roll to manipulate your warp field to reduce your shoal risk, because you really don't want that filling up. I think that's everything I need to go into.
Where's the ship's character sheet? Is it
It's
on the spreadsheet with the others?
I
It's
have
not
linked on the Facebook for you.
Cool. Is it on the spreadsheet with the others?
no, it's not spreadsheet with the others.
Cool.
I didn't dare edit the spreadsheet with the others. So it's not even on a spreadsheet of any kind.
What sorcery is this?
It's almost the opposite of sorcery.
What?
I don't know what you're reacting.
I expected sorcery from you. How dare you disappoint me like this?
I'm so sorry. So yes, as you can see, I've given the Iskandar the aspects flexible computer, small and agile, and thanks to your actions in the first session, shoal resistant engines, shoal resistant comms and sensors, and of course 2 negative aspects, caught on a shoal and outgunned, which of course you can compel for extra fate points if you wish to give yourself disadvantages for future advantages. Cool. So the first thing to do then, before we get into the actual nitty-gritty of the combat, you need to decide on your ship priorities, your ship assignments. You can see those list of skills there. Captain Vance, where would you
My
like...
ship priorities are Talander and Zal.
Right. So
And
yeah,
also Strange and Casey.
you can assign these now, and then you can change them later for a fate point if you want, or you can keep them the same.
I mean, the most efficient thing for me to do would just be to find some way of completely weaponizing Casey and constantly using obscene science scores to win, which, considering that we're in an area with some pretty wacky effects and influences upon our senses, I'm gonna do. Let's put science at the top and give us an obscene science bonus every time Casey sneezes.
Okay, right, yep.
Solid. He'll fluster about it. I'm game. I'll tear some shit up.
What about
this might possibly turn into interpretations on what consists as a science roll. I suppose I accept is a risk that I'm taking here.
I mean, I would say if you want to be absolutely safe, Casey is likely to be making either science or operations rolls to achieve his various wizardries. So they both,
What's your ops roll score, Sammy?
Let me look for you. Dari.
I'm not.
Make it cute. My ops is +2.
Okay, maybe let's put ops in the top bit.
Both opses? There are 2 opses.
But he's only going to be... Okay. Let's go with senses. Go with op sensors, then 2 we'll put in op shields. I'll put in my phasers because my phaser score is pretty fucking good.
You want phasers in high?
Yeah,
yep.
Shields and phasers in high.
Okay. And your enhanced ones?
Why can't we put everything else in there?
What do you mean?
Well, there are only 8. We could put in engineering, medicine, pilot evasion, and pilot attack.
Lovely. I could do this on the Google Doc. I'm not.
Oh, I guess in that way I'm not putting it. You know what? I'll leave science out of it then. We'll just rely on everything else can get a boost to it, and we'll just make sure we do stuff with sensors.
Just leave science out of it.
Well, if nothing else, I suppose I'll take the complete opposite to my plan and just rely upon the raw science capabilities of Casey in any kind of science-based concern. Especially, I guess, considering he also can fart out aspects for fate points if he rolls badly.
Hell yeah.
So, okay.
Apply raw science boy to the problem.
Yeah.
So the way this is going to work is, as stated in the chat, but I'll say it for the folks at home. I am not going to roll any dice. The dice rolling will all be done by the players. They will be largely declaring their actions and responding to actions that I declare. So you're both the players, and you have the more agile ship. But they have decloaked with their weapons charged, so they are going to open with an attack. Because you're not moving yet. Yes, a barrage of disruptor fire heads your way. How would you like to respond to it?
Let's start with, well, considering we were pretty much sat right in front of the Baraniki and not particularly moving, the most realistic way that we would absorb this will be just tanking it on our shields as the ship goes to red alert.
Okay. Okay, so whoever's on tactical.
I guess that's me.
Yep. Yeah, roll me operations. Remembering that +2 bonus.
So wait, so as tactical, I'm rolling for the shield and
Yes.
for the weapons.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's how that works.
I guess it's just going to be me rolling a lot tonight, folks.
You're also in command, so yeah, maybe.
So that's a +3 from me, and sorry, which way around is this? Because the Google sheet is not updated.
You have +2 to it.
Okay. So then that's a +5 to
Oh.
Operation Shield.
Right. Okay. Well, in that case, you will take 2 damage, which you can place as stress if you prefer, or can take directly as a breach of some kind.
Okay.
Well, you generally speaking, I think you want to feel stress before you
Yes,
put
we
down.
generally do want to feel stress, but you've also said that you've also got stress has statistical consequences, which is flummoxing me a bit because that's new. So, but what happens with them then? How are you using consequences?
The consequences are going to essentially be aspects you can compel or tag. And then if you fill those up, then the ship is incapacitated and can't take any more damage without being destroyed.
Okay. I guess considering we've taken 2 on a +5, we'll just put. I don't want to take any system stress because that's going to start giving us debuffs right away. So I guess we might as well take 1 minor damage right to begin with.
Okay. So you can just take weakened shields.
Yeah,
for that.
I'll take a minor damage weakened shields.
And things like that you can then later on people can do various rolls to try to repower your shields. So that's their opening barrage, but you don't get anything else from them because that was literally their decloak and ambush. So now it's over to Vance.
Okay. How much am I able to instruct things to do? Because as a general rule, Vance is going to want to shoot back, but
I mean,
he's probably also going to want to do other things.
Yeah, essentially, what the way I see this decision that the commanding officer makes is, what would you like to achieve in the next few seconds of the fight, and then all the other officers will make rolls to try to help you achieve that.
All right, Ensign Holmesley, bring us about. Let's try to keep out of the line of fire of theirs. They mostly got forward-facing weapons, so we can see if we can do something about that, while our phaser banks give us a bit more versatility on our firing arc. So you worry about keeping us out of their line of sight, and I'll worry about shooting.
Aye, sir.
Lieutenant... Oh, God, I almost said Lieutenant Ensign Casey, damn it.
My
name is
true first
Ensign.
name.
Lieutenant Casey, I'd appreciate if you could come up with anything grand on being able to obfuscate us from their senses, fiddle around with our, the calibration of our deflectors, of our hull. They're probably going to be having trouble detecting us just as we're going to be having trouble detecting them.
I'll see what I can do.
And yeah, and I'm going to, whilst Helmsley's doing some maneuvers, going to want to pew-pew.
Okay, excellent. So, yeah, I suppose you would be making me a phasers roll. So this is to create advantages.
And you get to add the ship for everything for that. You get to add these ship stats every single time we're rolling a thing.
Yes, you do. Yes. You do.
Okay, then that's 10.
Okay, well, 10's a lot. So that's great. That creates a shit ton of advantages. Let me find out what that is in metric. Okay, so you get 4. So essentially, these are 4 aspects that will last for this round, and you can tag them without spending any fate points. So essentially, this could represent, and I know you all know this for those at home, this could represent maybe you've managed to shunt a bit of extra power in, maybe you found a vulnerability in their shield grids, something like that.
Excellent targeting telemetry advantage exists then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start noting my shit down so that I can start. So we've got targeting telemetry with 4 free invocations.
Yep. And you will cash those in when you actually perform
the shipment
maneuvers next. Yep.
Okay, that's That's my thing.
That's fantastic. Okay, great. So Helm, you had an order. What would you like to do with it? Well, I know what you like to do with it. You want to roll pilot.
I'd like to roll pilot.
Mm-hmm. Evasion and attack have the same +1 bonus.
Second string helm. The night shift.
Night
Is-
shift. Woo-woo.
Whoop, whoop, is seriously wishing that Kantos were not on Riser right now.
People are allowed to go on holiday.
Yes,
obviously.
but if they had the opportunity to wish them back, then they would. Roll. That is a +1.
Okay. You do not manage to create any advantages based on your piloting on this occasion. Engineering.
There's no one at engineering.
Oh no, because you took the engineer with you. There's no one at engineering, so engineering can do whatever it is they do with a basic +1, because presumably there are engineers.
There's
at
probably
engineering.
someone
Yeah,
there.
I thought we still had Kingston.
Yeah, like, but I meant
Like
like,
an NPC in this.
yeah, it's just an NPC at engineering.
Yeah, no, I knew it was just an NPC, but
Emily, you can occupy the mighty form of Kingston.
I mean, you know, the mighty T1 around here is in the ensigns is Carnell, but you know.
Carnell is not in engineering at the moment.
Carnell is not in engineering, so
Carnell
Kingston
wouldn't
will
be
have to
best
do.
placed in engineering.
Yeah, no one wants Richard Carnell on the on that panel.
Eric.
I think there's
Carnell.
quite a few people who want Richard Cordell on that panel. Anyway, I'm gonna roll.
Wow. What a
Oh,
sexy
sorry.
ship.
Richard Carnell was his father.
You roll, so you have a base +1, and you've also got a +1 from the priority thing.
+1 from that. +1 from that. So basically +2.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that I'm adding to this roll? Or is it just that?
So there are so the ship's aspects you can tag if you want. Flexible computer, small and agile, shoal resistant engines, shoal resistant comms and sensors.
Yeah.
And technically, even the aspects I've tagged as negative, you can try to make a positive if you want. Caught in a shoal and outgunned. They don't seem very positive, but in theory, you can.
Yeah, I'd like to tag one of those aspects for a re-roll, I think, because that was a poor roll on my part.
Okay, flexible computer probably makes the most sense.
Yeah,
because
that's what
up to
I'm
you.
thinking here.
Yep. You've got those bio-neural gel packs that can allow for dynamic decision making by the computer. Apparently, it never comes up, but that's apparently what you can do. The bio-neural gel packs always compromise Voyager's performance.
Well, that's a better roll. It's still not great. 0.
Oh, that's the scale we're talking about. When you
Oh yeah, it were a bad roll.
Oh, when you say you got a bad, I understand you now. Yes,
Like what core
Even
ejecting
Strange
bad?
would have thought it was a bad roll.
we're all very glad that Lieutenant Vance got 4 weapony advantages. Then, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Casey.
My prerogative at the moment is to try and create us an advantage in terms of stopping them from being able to sense us. And so there's a degree to which, if my top tier science cacks out, I might well tag Caught in a Shoal to try and turn our shoal capturing state to an advantage.
Okay.
I want to be a small boy genius about this.
Okay.
Oh, little
Ooh.
science boy.
I don't think I need to tag a damn thing. I rolled a 5.
You rolled a 5. Fantastic. So
hell.
you
Right,
get
he's rolled a 5. Is that
Yeah.
before his?
Before
Have you
adding my
added it?
science of 5, which is
So in fact, you critically succeeded.
I did.
Oh,
critical
right.
succeed.
That I see.
8 and
Sorry,
a 1.
I see.
Sorry, 6
that's
and a 1.
So that's a 10.
materially different to rolling a 5. Okay, so you get 4 free invocations, and because you critically succeeded, you can also create a non-science related invocation. So you could create a piloting based or engineering based invocation if you like.
I think I'm going to, in that moment of tampering with the shields, I'm going to route some basically spare power down to engineering to help out with that whole situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
we've
good
got
about
targeting telemetry of 4, something like some sort of sensor shadow or whatever the hell he's created with 4 free invocations to use defensively.
Yep.
And the engineering, trying to make the ship less creaky, is not just like staring at everything, screaming.
Okay, fantastic. So excellent. So now I think that's all of the relevant stations. I mean, Tarek's doing things ops-wise, but I'm not sure there's much he can contribute to at this stage, except for occasionally shouting out, "There's damage on deck 3," which could be relevant information, obviously.
That
So
is
let's.
an absolutely vital part of the scene. Otherwise, we're just pushing things while explosions go off.
Yeah.
Having the one character go, "This is happening," we can go, "Thank you." We knew that, but
We've
thank
got
you
a couple
for
of
telling
extras at exploding panels who get tossed around.
Yeah,
That
it's
doesn't
like
say
a,
anything
I
more.
misheard that as exploding extras.
if the
Yes.
budget's high enough. So this is because we have an unlimited budget in our imaginations. This is a Star Trek movie, not a Star Trek episode, which means people not on the bridge can explode. We can afford to show damage throughout the ship, not just on the bridge.
Steady on.
Well, you know what? I'm blowing the season's budget on this one battle in ancient Game of Thrones tradition. So now we move on to the maneuvers phase. You've got the your crew have performed tinkering, and now Lieutenant Vance, you get to roll to see how the ship does in its fuck their shit up
All right. Considering that then we've got this fairly strong offense and defense, it's going to be try to like get them in their aft as we're coming around, make them think that we're somewhere we're not with Casey's cleverness. So these are only going to last. These advantages are only going to last like once for this set of maneuvers, aren't they? They're not continuous.
They're gonna last for these maneuvers, and and any you don't use are going to last for the enemy's maneuvers as well. So some of them you can tag in defense.
Right. Oh yeah, because but I imagine targeting telemetry is probably just going to go onto my attack roll.
Yeah.
But let's see. So we're going to shoot them. We're going to pew pew once we've gotten to a good position.
Fantastic.
And try to get down those shields. So let's go fancy boy. And I am adding, I can remember, +4 off Vance, +2, so we're adding 6. So that's a 7. And I don't need to. I could re-roll. In fact, that's worth a re-roll. I've got 4 invocations of oh, wait a minute. Re-roll is +2. I could add just +6, so 7. So I could just crop this up to a 13 and not bother re-rolling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what Vance has spotted is this ship, for some reason there seems to be just a momentary delay between their cloak coming offline and their shields coming online, and I think you've exploited a gap that you've found there. So okay, 13. They're going to take. Oh, they've had to take some very awkward maneuvers in their very big ship to try to. But this is a fantastic hit, and you can actually see that you have dealt some damage to their outer hull.
Good.
Hull breach, very nasty. Okay, the enemy ship. You've ended up maneuvering so that their aft is towards you, essentially. Okay, that's really good, because that of course is where they have the fewest weapons systems. So because they are rear facing, their maneuvers are limited to maneuvers tagged rear facing. I think they're going to respond by launching some rear torpedoes at you. I have got, oh goodness me. So I've got 2 helps and 2 hinders in place. So I am going to redeem one of Lou's hinders. The torpedoes are very well targeted. They seem to have anticipated your flight path. which essentially adds a bonus to their invisible to hit, which means you just need to put more into your evasion. And you can counter a weapons hit with a piloting roll. You can counter it with an engineering roll to boost power to shields. You can counter with an ops roll to refocus your shields. It's really up to you. You have a response. Who does it?
Let's go with the piloting, because that's going to be the easiest one for us to then apply sensor shadow to.
Boom.
So you can make a piloting check with +1 of evasion, +1 off the ship, and whatever Helmsley's got. And you got 4 free invocations, bud.
What are our invocations at the moment?
You've got the sensor shadow, so essentially be like, they're not hitting you.
That's a +6.
That's a +6.
That's before you've even used the free invocations.
That's before, yeah. 3 skill, rolled a 3 on the die. I think he goes, hang on, I'm just gonna try something.
Okay, that's great. So,
do we need another? I did my maths wrong. Do we need another +8s to not get hit?
You don't. You don't. Despite the fact that they anticipated what was your flight path, you changed your flight path. Perhaps with a neat little bit of a barrel roll. Again, the budget's whatever we want. So the torpedoes. There's a spread of 6 torpedoes. One of them would probably have hit quite close to your warp core had you not evaded. But they all fly right past you. One of them might skim your shields, but doesn't do any damage to it. The shield holds, and the torpedo goes skittering off into the void. It probably then ends up in a little spatial fold of its own, where that torpedo becomes God in a micro universe. We'll follow the story of that torpedo later on. That's its maneuver. It's coming round for a turn, but its turning circles are much larger than yours, especially in this part of space. So Iskandar, once again, you have the initiative.
All right, this seems to be working well. Lieutenant Casey, continue to try to befuddle them exactly where we are.
Yes, sir.
Helmsley, try to keep us to their aft. They're slow. We don't want to get caught up too much in the shoal, so attempt to keep us out of the worst of their firing arcs and let Lieutenant Casey keep us shielded. Engineering, if you can get a shot at making sure that systems are going to run if they hit us again. No, boost something to our shields if you can, if we're all looking good in our systems.
Aye, sir.
And I'm going to try to target them. So that's my plan.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, start rolling.
Targety targets. 6. So that's a 9 on my phases.
Okay, excellent. That's 4 invocations.
Okay. So
This system's so polar, isn't it? You seem to roll 8+ and then 0s and 1s.
in this particular case, there's a boost to one of my best skills in play, so I don't need to roll that well to...
No, I think it's one of the strengths of the Fate system. I don't normally support systems that are really polar like this, but I think it really works for sort of action phases and things like that. I like it a lot. Okay, that's great. 4 free invocations on weapons rolls. Who's next? Engineering. Oh, sorry.
No, please, engineering.
I was just taking the...
Should I also be adding some stats for Kingston as well to the rolls? Or
yes,
is it...
so Kingston...
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Where does Kingston have stats?
He doesn't really. Nor,
okay, cool. I'll just make something up and give
Nor
it,
does
like...
Helmsley. I think I gave Helmsley a base +2.
Yeah, I'll give Kingston something like a 2 or a 3, do we think, to engineering?
2.
2 sounds good.
Fine, yeah. And then of course you have a +2. If you're doing, you can choose. I don't know what you're going to give. Well, this is a diverting power, isn't it? So it is more of an engineering roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So you got a +1 to all engineering rolls as well.
Yeah, so that is a total of 2.
That's total of 2. Okay, great. You don't actually get any free invocations unless you want to tag an aspect for a reroll or to add a straight +2 to it.
Since that'd be burning a fate point, and I've actually got, a positive number this time rather than the garbage time. Like, even adding Kingston's +2 stats wouldn't have saved the last roll, so I don't think it's worth burning a fate point this time.
Especially as we've got Casey about to try another defensive technique.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, the Intrepid class starship is a magical wand that flies through space, generating science wherever it goes. Science.
I have only rolled a 2.
You've only rolled a 2.
I do a reroll of that. How did you? Oh my god! You've just.
Yeah.
When you say you
rolled a
only
minus-
rolled a 2,
That's a result. So he rolled a
that your-
-3. He rolled garbage.
I
Oh,
rolled
you rolled-
garbage.
you
hit
rolled
a-
garbage.
Hit a reroll on that. Spend a
I'm
fate
gonna-
point.
Yeah,
Like,
let's fate point it up. I'm gonna.
it's
reroll.
highly unlikely you will roll worse than that.
It came out better.
Yeah.
If like I'm saying that it's a 6. It's
Yeah,
perfect, but yeah, it could have been higher.
you could have.
Are you tagging one of your own aspects then, or one of the ships?
I'll tag one of my own. Because basically I imagine Casey's at this point. We've got the first advantage of being able to displace where we are with the shoaling, but I have to imagine that their ship has another, like a Romulan ensign Casey trying to counteract
Sure.
my stuff. So it's like 3D chess. I gotta
It's a
figure that
mind
out.
battle, yeah.
It's a mind battle.
What a
So-
terrifying concept
Oh,
of
that's what
Romulan
makes
nuts and
But
case.
Casey's imagining that he exists.
It's nemesis. So you're on the ship. I've got you now. Why
I
are you muffled?
found
Yours?
you.
Nothing, sir.
Yeah, so I'm going to tag my own aspect. The future is everything. I can't fall behind. And in classic Casey standards, for the goals that I've set myself and the standards that I must achieve, I'm trying to outplay something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
How many invocations on Sense of Shadow is that? 3, 2?
Was that a 6 you
it was a
rolled?
6.
That is 2 free invocations.
Neat.
Okay. Helmsley.
Helmsley is on the case. Helmsley's less on the case.
Shouldn't have put senses at top. I thought we'd be doing slightly more imaginative shit. Change that next time.
I should invoke. I got a -2.
You got a -2.
I did.
Okay.
I did. Thoughts on invoking, everyone?
Yes.
Well, yeah, the ship has a small and agile aspect.
Yeah, I reckon that it's going to be one of those. The -2 represents that he span off and is like aiming for the shoal, and it's just like, nope, back the other way. Reroll.
We all believe in you, Helmsley.
No, it's the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
That's fine.
yep, there's not much to say about that.
You're not going to be in the next episode.
No, don't trombone me. I'm not Kilburn. I don't appreciate it.
I never said I appreciated it. It happens to me.
You love it when Roomba sad horns you.
I love it when Ruba gives me any attention at all, to be honest.
Any kind of horn.
Oh no.
Don't call it a sad horn.
Well, there we go. You brought it into this.
I love
conversation.
Roomba's sad horn. Clip
on
that,
the on,
Twitch.
on the Romulan ship, on the Romulan ship, they're tapping into internal comms. They go, "Well, this is going nowhere. Initiate self-destruct." They just don't want to listen to this anymore. Okay, great. So we'll move on to the maneuvers phase then. You're attempting to come around to keep them, to make sure that as they try to turn, you are keeping their aft towards you, and you're issuing a barrage of weapons fire as well.
Yes. Now let's hit some torpedoes at them now that we've got a bit more secure in
Okay.
behind them. So I guess it's still technically a phases check.
It's a full phaser. I think ship weapons is the thing.
I crit. So
Okay.
That's,
Okay.
So that's 5,
So
10, 12, and 4 free invocations.
So I
This would be 20.
I think what's going to happen is their aft shields are going to completely collapse. I think what you do is you pulse the phases a few times before you open with the torpedoes, just to force their shields to cycle. And you've actually knocked out their aft shield generator. So those shields will not be coming back online without some repairs. Where are they? So they get the aspect, no aft shields, which is a pretty dramatic. No aft shields. Well, that's bad news for them. That's also going to represent itself as major damage, shockingly enough. Aft shields destroyed. They're not having a great time there, and they're going to have to take, what was that? How much did you roll in total?
20.
20. So they're 20 minutes.
And all of my free invocations, which I'm gonna.
So they are going to have to take quite a bit. They're also going to take more damage from that. I think their aft torpedo launchers are broken as well. So in response to this, they cloak.
That's reasonable.
However, you are still in battle with them. So while they're doing whatever it is they are doing, you may make your preparations.
Oh boy, I'm actually glad now we put sensors. All right, we hit him a good few times. Lieutenant Casey, see if you can still detect him, whether or not there's any kind of, leakage from our hitting them or remnants from our quantum torpedoes striking them, anything like that you can pick up through their cloak. See if you can find them. Engineering, get back to patching up the damage to our shields.
I see.
And I do not want it. How are we doing on them shoals? How's our flight capabilities, Ensign Helmsley?
How are they?
You have filled 2 out of 8 shoal risks, so you're pretty comfortable for the time being.
Doing all right for now, sir.
See if you can make sure that our impulse engines ain't gummed up or whatever the hell is going on with that. I want us to be ready to keep on maneuvering.
On it.
And then Tarek, open up open hailing frequencies. Open up a comm.
Yes, sir.
This is the USS Iskandar, Romulan ship. If you are prepared to reconsider border locations, we will understand and we're happy to talk. Otherwise, we can keep doing this.
You do not receive a response.
I guess we're going to keep doing this.
Okay. So, let's do some rolling then. You are readying for another swoop. Helm. I know you don't know exactly where you're evading from.
I imagine since Helmsley doesn't know where he's evading from, his focus will be to put us in a good position, not fly towards danger, and give us lots of options for where to go next.
Okay. Vance.
Ooh, I critted.
Ooh, nice. Fucking A.
So what I was going to say was, Vance, were you going to, before you rolled, Vance, were you going to rearrange the priorities? Or keep
No, I wasn't yet, because I might do that once they decloak. But now they've cloaked, it's useful for us to have sensors at the top.
Yep, that's fantastic. So you got a 6 in total, was that?
I'm at a +2, so I go 7 in total.
7. So you have 3 flight control related invocations.
3. I shall note that down.
Essentially, you have a number of courses you can take depending upon which vector they approach from, and you're ready to go in the result of an ambush.
And is an invocation a +2 or a reroll, or is
it's an aspect. You can use it to just give yourself a +2, or you can try a reroll, whatever you think's better.
Right, I'm in a good position.
Okay, fantastic. Engineering.
We've got a +5.
Okay, so you have 2 invocations. Because so you can, if you like, you can take 2 invocations, or you can instead spend an invocation to reduce your shoal risk by 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so you essentially reconfigure the warp field, so your
Yeah.
shoal risk goes down by 1.
Just adjust some frequencies on what the warp field's
Yeah,
doing. Turn
you-
something off and on again, just to kind of.
Talk about mega Cochrans and just kind of get on with your life. Yeah, absolutely.
Standard engineering stuff.
Standard engineering stuff. The officers don't understand when you do explain to them, so there's no point really explaining. Yeah. So, okay, great. Mr. Science.
I've gotten myself an 8 on my science roll to try and figure out from any leakage signatures, anything on sensors, in trying to find where they may be.
Okay. So what number did you roll again?
8.
So, I'm going to cash in a minor help that we received from See Nothing. And I think because of their destroyed aft torpedo tube, they're trailing, they've probably lost some torpedoes, and I think that there's some gamma radiation from the gamma radiation. Obviously, gamma radiation in Star Trek bears no resemblance whatsoever to gamma radiation. It's more like a sort of gas that leaves a trail. So you can tell from that roughly what their trajectory was when they cloaked.
Approximate location.
And given their size and the fact that you know where the leak was coming from, you can't resolve a targeting solution, but you could try blind firing.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think in that case then that we actually have half of an indication. Vance is going to, sort of based off extrapolations, try to keep up a running sensor telemetry for like the moment that they decloak, to see it coming. Like, he's not just going to start firing blindly at their cloaked. He's going to sort of try to get a targeting lock so that hopefully he's targeting space and they appear into that space, and then he can open fire.
Okay. Open fire.
That's intended as a prep rather than necessarily a maneuver, but that depends is what the ship's doing. So
okay,
that's Vance's prep. As I roll a fat nothing on the dice this time, but that is, why can I still not remember? It's a +4, so it's a +2. That's a +6 on from bonuses.
Okay, so you get 2 free invocations.
Cool.
Okay. Fantastic stuff.
As a maneuver, we're waiting for him. That's got to be what the ship's doing, is waiting for him to and open and fire the moment that they decloak.
Okay, fantastic. So, I think the two things happen simultaneously then, because you're essentially ready the moment that distinctive wobble shows up. So, we'll open with your firing.
Okay, so they decloak, open and fire. I've got 2 for indication of that. Let's not forget. That's a +2 on the dice. So Jesus Christ, I cannot keep it in my head. So that's an 8 on the phases. I'll spend the 2 free invocations to make that a 12.
The
phaser blast.
Okay, so I'm going to redeem both a help and a hinder. Oh, you're looking at me. Oh, you're getting in the comments. You can't do that. I'm doing it. I can do it because they're related to separate things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you fire. at this forming distinctive shape of a Romulan warbird, but the shape does not properly solidify, and your weapons seem to pass right through this strange image. But you have a minor help from Frey McFuzzles, which means whatever's going on here is very strange. But one of your last torpedoes does strike the actual ship some way behind this projected image. So I will deal some damage accordingly, since they only have their secondary shields, which are basically nothing. So I will deal some damage appropriately.
Get
I
wrecked.
think they're probably just going to take that as stress. Okay, so, however, they decloak and they unleash a broadside. It seems most of their starboard weapons are firing. How do you respond?
Evasive maneuvers. That's what we're all prepped for.
Helmsley, evasive maneuvers.
Aiding. That's a 6. It's a 6 on the die.
Nice.
Okay.
And how many and oh yeah, do you even need to use the invocations?
I think, given the
Might
circumstances,
as well.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to last into next round.
Yeah, this is your last chance to use them.
Oh, in which case,
Make it a +10.
12. That was-
Yes. Yes, it's +2 for each. I forget how many you had.
3.
Oh, you had 3. I thought you had 2.
What? I know.
12. So
Helmsley's been absolutely trigger happy on the reaction.
we
time.
see the Iskandar firing into this strange projected Valdor-shaped shadow, and a torpedo striking something that the human eye cannot perceive, and then the actual ship drops out of cloak, and a barrage of green light flies towards the Iskandar, which ducks and rolls, but is struck multiple times. You end up with still 6 damage. Full barrage. This was not their aft. This was the broadside. This is what happens when a Romulan ship decloaks on you. So you can distribute that to stress and or damage, however you like.
I'll take 2 hull stress and moderate damage. Frankly, our system stress is too fucking precious for us to.
System stress. System stress is probably something you don't want to go messing with just yet. Yeah. Okay. So moderate damage.
Although, could we use the invocation off engineering to at least add a +2 to that to make that a 14?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah, you're generally preparing your defenses, and the specific point of engineering was damage mitigation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You can do what you like with that. You can knock another 2 off that. Any
Okay,
way you
then
like.
take off the hull stress and just give us a moderate damage.
Okay, fab. So moderate damage is probably a system offline something. What sort of thing do you want to be disadvantaged with?
Fuck medicine. Who needs meat sack people?
The faster than light approach, where you just go
sick bay just gets eviscerated.
take off medicine. Do we need oxygen?
I mean, if that's the answer, that
I'd rather make it that like either a your choice or a random roll. To be honest,
I'll do a random roll. I think that's the fair thing.
Preferably
Oh
not.
boy, I hope it's not me.
Let's take Casey offline.
Just, ooh.
Shit! The lieutenant's broken. We need to turn him off and on again.
2 more things. Oh, I know.
Yeah, to be honest, this probably feels like whose console's exploding in their face actually feels like this is what that is.
Yeah, somebody needs to get yeeted across the room here.
That's fun as fuck.
So, these are the options, and I'm going to have one of you roll for this. A result of 1 will knock out the secondary functions of the deflector dish, i.e. your magic wand. A roll of 2 will knock out the port warp nacelle, which will put you at risk of further things, although you're not going to warp presently. A roll of 3 will create major breaches in deck 10, which includes the mess hall and sickbay. A roll of a 4 will create a major hull breach in the crew quarters. A roll of 5 will knock out your port phasers, and a roll of 6 will knock out your port shields.
Hope it just takes that meat sack.
Lieutenant Vance, since you're in command, I'll ask you to roll a d6.
Oh no, I'm going to roll the
3 or
command
4.
dice for this.
3 or 4. 3 or
It's a
4.
4!
Okay.
That's the thing we don't care about.
You've lost your phasers. Yeah. That'll
Well, no, 4 was crew quarters.
What was crew quarters?
Oh, 4 was crew quarters, yeah, right. Okay, so
Those slackers.
So a few people are going to die.
Yeah.
I see this as horrifying.
Yeah, I see this as awful. see. Yeah, we've still got our pew pew guns.
Okay, yeah, okay. Great. See, I think Lieutenant Vance is your experience is a negative one so far in aggregate. However, they are now decloaked. How do you respond?
They're straight facing up sorry, their shields are pretty fucked, aren't they? Still.
Yeah, you have compromised shields. And they have no aft shields.
They still only have no aft shields. Okay, not at all shields. Lieutenant Casey, let's keep on with the sense trick. Try to make them think we're going somewhere. Heading straight up at them. Ensign Helmsley, we've just got to keep on trying to come round up to their aft for it. Engineering, I want you to try to make sure that we've still got power, that we can repair any damaged systems and essentially retain emergency force fields. And I'm going to try to, if I can't get a shot at their aft, I'm going to try to get a shot at their one of their forward weapon posts.
Aye, sir.
Okay. Who'd like to create invocations first?
I want Helm to go before me.
Okay, Helmsley.
Oh, wait, sorry. Before we do this, I am now going to spend the ship's fate point.
Yep.
Okay. Top of this, let's put pilot evasion, I think, needs to go at the top now. Leave phase is where it is. Think you're probably raising engineering. Yeah, let's raise engineering. Mike, I'll let you pick. We've got to now replace engineering and pilot evasion with some +1s, and I'll let you pick what you think is going to be most use for you.
Let's throw sensors back in there at +1.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's for us that's always been for us detecting them, which isn't much of what we ended up doing in the end, except for when they were cloaked.
No, that's a fair point. Stick science and shields, I think we'll do another pretty nasty barrage.
Mm-hmm.
You could do sensors might be for something like finding a snag in the shoal to try and lure them in, for example. That might be a sensors role.
Let's stick with that then, yeah. Sensors and
science.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. So Helmsley.
What does being top of the Christmas tree do for you?
It means that as well as your personal skill of +2, power and computational efficiency has been diverted to the flight controls, meaning you have a +3 bonus on top of your personal +2.
It's a 5.
It's a 5 in total?
Yep. The
Fantastic.
being
Okay.
put on top of the loving list was good because I only got 2.
That's really brilliant. Okay. So then you get 2 invocations.
Yes.
for your. This is for evasion, I take it. If you're making an attack, it's only a +1. If you're evading, it's a
Prioritizing evasion.
Yeah, that seems sensible in light of recent events.
I'm gonna rely upon my obscene phaser stats to see us through the attacking.
Absolutely. So, Vance.
Yeah, if that's relatively good for us to have a shot at having a pop on the raft, Vance is going to start setting up his targeting telemetry to try to get him right at the aft. It's +1, which is putting 7.
Okay, so you're heading to the aft of the enemy ship, but you're focusing on evasion initially. So that's fine. So I think what we'll do there is, so we'll call that 2 invocations instead of 3, because I think because you're moving defensively, that'll essentially be an aspect almost that I'm compelling. Because I'm compelling an aspect against you, however, I'm going to give you a fate point.
Yay!
Okay, so excellent. Yeah, that's brilliant. So that's 2 invocations for your attack against their aft engineering.
So by being moved further up the tree, engineering gets a 3.
A 3, okay. A 3 gets you a free invocation.
Nice. So yeah, Kingston and other miscellaneous ensigns will just be kind of frantically scrabbling to try and get some more power to the shields, but also some to sort out emergency force fields so that fewer people get sucked into the void of space through the hull breach that we have.
One thing you could do with your free invocation is, for the duration of this next maneuver, I can get rid of your compromised shields aspect. It would only be temporary. It'd be a temporary rerouting of power, but it would mean that the next time they attack, your shields are all at full strength.
Okay.
You could do that. You don't have to do that.
That sounds pretty good, to be honest. I'll take that.
Okay. So
unless anybody wants to convince me otherwise.
Sounds good. Do it.
Yeah.
Doing the thing.
Okay, that's fantastic. So, who's next? Mr. Science. Sorry, Lieutenant Science.
Lieutenant Science. I think kind of the role play justification of what he's doing is he'll blurt out something along the lines of, I've programmed a pattern into a non-linear fashion into some probes that should hopefully start and interfere with their sensors. I'll deploy a bunch of dramatic probes, and I have a 5 on that roll.
Okay, that's
very
great.
Star Trek Online. This is quite entertaining.
Yeah, I quite like the ship combat in STO, to be honest. That's 2 invocations. I have a particular fondness for dropping mines. I always think that's a lot of fun.
But I also hate fighting Romulans in that game. So
yeah, there is also that. Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant. So you are making sure that you avoid all of their disruptor and torpedo arcs as you make your way aft, but knowing that thanks to previous action, there are no torpedoes awaiting you when you get there. So you're free to position yourself for a barrage.
Let's open fire. Pew, 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 pew. That's not as good. That's not terrible. Not good, not great. Okay. Vance is gonna re-roll this. I'm going to tag redeeming the family name.
Nice.
So I don't think I've tagged before. To just get a flat re-roll on that face's roll of hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
That is not hot garbage. That is just barely not a crit. So that is a 10. So I'm going to raise that to a 14 on the phases.
Very, very nice. So, I like this. I like this a lot. So I think they're going to have to make a very stupid decision there, but it's the only thing they can do because they do not have any shields here. I think that fills up their stress. Unless they take, they're gonna have to take that. So there's a large explosion from the aft of the Romulan ship. You're not quite sure what it is. The ship's still there, but there was some kind of chain reaction that occurred when you directly hit their unshielded aft section. Okay. So they are rear facing, and they do not have their torpedoes any longer.
We're killing people, Emily. This is awful.
I know, but also I'm a very childish person, in case you hadn't noticed. And so the word aft is...
So they are going to attempt a maneuver that in normal space would be a great idea, but in shoal space is not so great idea. And they're going to try a very, very tight turn to try and get you away from their aft section. They swoop around very tightly, launching a barrage from their starboard side to try to cover themselves. And I'm going to add to their shoal risk significantly. Yep, so there's a barrage of disruptor fire heading your way.
Let's try to take that on Helmsley.
I would like to.
And you are presently not suffering from your compromised shields, engineering founder. Few extra megawatts.
Plus, we've got not just good stuff for piloting, but we've got good stuff for shields and good stuff for all of Casey's science bullshit.
It looks like the Berenike didn't get all the good crew when they were being assigned.
We've got a fucking commander level science officer who's buffing the shit out of us.
Plus my invocations. That's a +5.
That's a +5.
Oh, wait,
okay.
sorry. I'm also top of the loving list, aren't I?
Yes.
So that's a +8.
That is a +8. What they do?
Is there any reason to not blow the 2 engineering, well, certainly to blow the 2 science things of Casey's wacky probes? That was what it was going to do, wasn't it, Casey? It was going to make us harder to detect still. It was your Trek Nababble.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was.
Yeah, it's basically replicating and amplifying various signatures from the shoalage to try and give us a little bit more concealing.
I like the idea that how that's represented in the scene is that the ship, drops and spins and does all the barrel rolls and stuff, but it's leaving, the Assassin's Creed style like ghosts where it was like a few seconds ago. So it looks like it's kind of going, which ship is it? What's going on?
We cast mirror image.
So that's an extra +4 if we spend those.
Okay.
And if we get hit, we've got 2 engineering invocations.
That would be a +12 then.
In that case, I think the some of the drones absorb to their destruction. Some of the disruptor fire.
Oh no!
You evade the torpedoes, and you take no impact at all from that attack. Okay.
Very nice, Mr. Helmsley.
See, I knew you'd get used to the name eventually. So, Iskandar.
Are they looking like they're struggling in these conditions? How's their maneuverability?
They seem to have abandoned cautious maneuvering in a desperate attempt to keep you at their fore.
All right, let's try to lure and bait them. Lieutenant Casey, find us something rock to get them stuck on, make them not go in the right direction. And if you can pipe any telemetry for that to Helmsley, so Helmsley can lure us nice and close. I'm going to try to focus on point defenses against any torpedoes they're launching, and engineering can try to keep us in one piece. I'd rather we beached these bastards rather than breached them.
Oh, nice
Rhymes.
phrasing. I want to give you a. Can I give you a fate point for that? Yeah, have a fate point. That was great phrasing. I thought that was great.
Also, very advanced phrasing. That's the kind of thing you'd say.
We're going to put some ketchup back in this Romulan bottle.
Let's forget all about that.
No, I Vance dies.
Can I just say I'm heartbroken that Vance is being real eloquent right now, and not when Talandra's around.
You should. That would actually be a pretty good aspect, wouldn't it? Beach them, not breach them is a pretty good non-lethal.
That's nice, yeah.
Okay, excellent. I like that. So, who wants to go first? Invoke.
I think I should.
Okay, Sciencey.
Basically, from sensors, I'm going to be basically charting out any beaching points in the shoal and feeding them to navigation, hopefully to give them some idea of take this path, and then they won't be able to maneuver to.
Okay, roll me ops sensors. There were ops sensors in the thing.
So we can definitely be a lot bolder, considering that we can take a bit more shoal risk than presumably they can.
You actually, because of the adaptations you made in previous episodes, sometimes you just don't take extra shoal risk.
Nice.
As you'll see, your shoal risk is still at 1. It was only a maximum, it was at 2 before you used it. A 3, I believe, gets you a free invocation. Yes, a free invocation. So you have discovered levels of space-time folding that might indicate a beaching point. Helmsley?
It's helm time. He doesn't say that. That's not elegant.
He says it inside.
Come on, Josiah, you can do it. Where am I on the loving list order
Top
again?
still.
In which case, that's a +8.
Oh, goodness me. Wow, okay.
It's
Fantastic.
getting into the vibe of it.
Yeah, that's 3 invocations. This was evading, wasn't it? Yeah.
Evading / bait.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the old ship to ship hard to get. It's come get me, but don't. Yeah. No one clip that. Someone
clip that.
That's fine. I knew this was the risk when I started. Engineering.
Engineering gets a 7.
Oh, engineering.
Kingston's like, okay, that coffee's finally kicking in.
I like that.
I think Kingston and Helmsley have been looking at each other this whole time going, we're not letting them down. We're not letting the ones that aren't here down.
We're going to become main cast.
We've got this.
That's 3 invocations. Again, if you like, you can spend 1 of them to mitigate your compromised shields.
Yes, I would absolutely like to. We frantically continue to try and decompromise shields and also do what we can to reduce damage that we've already taken.
Okay, fantastic.
We're doing this for all the non-main cast.
So
Kingston.
you have 2 invocations left to use for damage mitigation. Is that everyone's invocations?
Vance hasn't.
Vance, yes.
He's gonna try to do it defensive. Now, obviously, Voyager is a product of the 90s and those lovely beam strips of phasers on the lovely phaser banks. But imagine, if you will, the existence of Voyager as made in this disco era, where I have a lot of pew pew points defenses and I want to make ready.
Yeah, I feel like because Defiant had those pulse cannons.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why. I mean, there are lots of reasons why not, but yeah, if you want to have point defense phases.
I want to shoot defensively.
It seems like
also,
in a setting where torpedoes are like a thing, there must be countermeasures.
Yes, actually, to be fair, in practice, whilst countermeasures would be deployed, so he will focus upon the defences. But what Vance is more likely to do is to try to shoot in a way to encourage them to take evasive action right into the places we want them to go.
Right, okay.
That makes much more sense.
Okay.
But
Okay,
I also want cool shots of my point defences.
Okay. Yeah,
Just
that's
be.
important. No, that's fine.
That is
All the effects budget.
I can't remember. It doesn't stick in my head. So that's a 3 on the dice. So that's a 5. So that's a 9. Okay.
That would be 4 invocations.
Which is more about manipulating their flight path than doing them damage.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I want to use these against them, I think, what I want to do with those.
That's no problem. That is legit. So, maneuver time then.
Fly, little Helmsley, fly.
Yeah, I think this is Helmsley.
I'm on it. Okay, so that's a 5 before invocations.
Nice. So then that becomes a 11 with all of your piloting invocations.
Yeah.
And can
Unless-
you use... I'm just... How are we then... GM, how are you then representing us trying to beach them? Are you going to... Essentially, are we going to want to blow all of our invocations on our round? Or are we going to want to save, say, the science invocation and to use against them?
I think the way I'm going to do this is it's going to increase the shoal risk cost of their actions precipitously. So you'll want to save something for defense. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess blow all of your piloting and the engineering.
If we keep engineering and pilot as defensive and let science and tactical be offensive, then we can... Good teamwork. So that's 11 from me.
Mm-hmm.
What have we got in engineering town?
2 for
Oh, we're on the
invocation.
defensive part. I thought we were using our bits on our stuff now. And
Well, this is essentially, I think this is to set up how good is our basic defense roll, which is primarily based off the piloting evasion. But
right.
we kind of been folding engineering into sort of a total score for...
Yeah. That's the. I think this is
Mhm.
why I got a bit lost. So okay, what am I doing then? Am
You
I
have
rolling again?
No. I think we're just using the 2 free invocations to bring that up to 15.
No, because I had a 7 before. Oh, it's being added onto that. Gotcha. Yes.
Mhm, Yep.
Okay, so that's
We're just getting straightforward wins because we're invoking.
Mhm.
okay. Do you still have some invocations left for your defense?
I thought this was a defensive.
Yeah, that's why we're using evasion and
So
engineering.
I thought this was to try and lure them onto the shop.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
thought.
Okay, sorry, that's me possibly misunderstanding. I say...
But in that case, we've still got our science and tactical ones. then,
Yeah,
haven't
we've still got the science.
Do
Yeah,
still have
sorry, we
those.
were going to
Do
keep
still have
piloting and
those.
engineering and blow all those on our defense, and the science and tactical, which we haven't yet rolled, goes to beaching them.
But what we've done is ended up doing that the other way around. But that's okay.
So essentially, it's a 15 on our defense, I think, is with Ensign Helmsley's ninja-like skills.
Okay, and what is it on the beaching attempt? What?
Right. Who do you want to... do you want science to roll for that? Because it's the quality of the beach. I'm happy for science roll.
Yeah, I'm happy with either. I think either one works for me. I think I see it as Vance is aiding the science effort in getting it to happen, isn't it? But also science is informing tactical, so I could see it either way, whatever you prefer.
Let's let science take the lead. I've shot
Mr.
them lots.
Lieutenant Ensign Casey.
Oh, fuck it now.
Don't fuck it.
Spoilers, dear
And a
readers.
fate point.
He fucked it.
I'm gonna re-roll. on
It
that
looks a bit
one.
fucked.
What are you tagging?
Tagging,
Let's
don't
have a look.
fuck it, Casey.
Don't fuck it, Casey. Let's have a look.
Are you a brightest mind of our fucking
I
generation
am
or
the
what,
brightest
kid?
mind of our generation.
Go on
Oh
then,
my
prove it.
God.
Do
Yeah.
it again!
It's really
We don't
worse.
believe you.
Spend
Okay.
your last fate point, child.
And if you
Um,
run out of fate points, spend your own blood.
Or, to be fair, you've got actually the invocations. You've got one free science invocation to spend, which you could just spend on a reroll.
Hold on. Let me do the maths on this. 5, 1, 3. And it sends us 4. I'm on a 4.
And there are 4. And to be fair, there is an 8 in phasers. There is a +8 from the phaser invocations to bring that up to a 12.
So if I reroute power from phasers,
No,
Yeah?
from the my pew-pewing is driving them
All
into
right.
the place which you've lured them to
okay,
with the 12. The question is, what did you get on the dice?
I got a +2 -4.
You got
So a minus
what's a
2 on the.
+2?
Good dice
You got a
2,
minus
bad
2.
dice 4. Yeah.
So you got a -2 on the dice.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd consider spending one of those invocations to just re-roll that dice, but
All right, let's go for a third reroll. Better. +1 on the dice.
cool. Okay, so that's a +5 for your science. So that's
So
a 6.
And then
There's a science, so it's a 7 for the enhanced.
Yep.
And then there's an
another
8, so it's a
8 from
15. That didn't gain us a great deal, but we did it.
got there in
Okay.
the end.
Right. So, like I said, that is going to precipitously increase their shoal risk when they next do a thing. So, in order to do that, then they're going to have to make a very important decision. I think if they pursue you, they will absolutely be shoaled. There is no question of that. There's no way to avoid that. They can't turn and attack you without beaching themselves. I believe their only choice is to withdraw. They're going to show you their tail and cloak. You win this round. They don't say over the comm. They withdraw. I think we see all of the sort of preparation. They're going to come back. Okay, do this, and you just wait. But they don't return. At least not yet. Giving you the time to make repairs.
Also, Ensign Helmsley, bring us back close to the Baraniki. Let's see if we can pick up the away mission. Ensign Tarek, first signal the away team that the coast seems clear.
Yes, sir.
Second, get me a casualty count.
Will do so. Reports coming in from sickbay. The hull breach cost us 13 hands, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tarek.
So, let's take a break, I think, before we head to see what Captain Athan is up to. Yeah, we'll take a break. It's 9:15 now, so we'll aim to be back for 9:30, so we can all sort of degauss from the combat. Yeah, okay, great. We'll see you all in about 15 minutes. Look after yourselves. Keep it sleazy.
We out.
Sleep.
Hello, everyone. We've returned. I hope everyone is refreshed and ready to go. We're going to transition abruptly from high-stakes, powerfully explosive ship combat to high-stakes, explosive in a slightly different way, person-to-person combat. It's not really combat. Like Athan is challenging people to a duel on the starbase. You, sir, you were a bad president. Phasers at dawn.
Wait, is she not?
It's her time. She can do with it what she likes.
I'm not going to become an assassin.
Even though it's sorely tempting when talking to the man.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just push him into a Jeffrey's tube and lock the hatch. Just leave him be for a bit. Okay, so Athan, last session, you've come to the impression that Jaresh-Inyo is being leaned on by someone. You would come to that impression and then had it confirmed by someone dropping you a line saying, "Don't push
Oh
it."
yeah.
Yeah,
I got that.
You got a message saying, I can't remember exact word for word, but it was essentially something like "stop prying," which is a great thing to say to a Star Trek captain who's also a main character. They'll always pry. So yeah, you had made a friend,
Emmeline Stivlitz,
who is a junior, is actually an aide to Jaresh-Inyo's a secretary, personal assistant, executive assistant. She has access, but isn't terribly fond of Jaresh-Inyo because, she's a person who's met him. It really was awful. And she's experienced a bit of gaslighting, in that there was an inconsistency in his position. He reversed his position and now denies that this is the case, which is quite distressing.
And she was going to check the personal the meeting logs, etc., to see if who he
Yes.
talked to during the meanwhile.
Yes. So I think that was dinner, wasn't it? That was the towards the end of the day. So I think she will approach you discreetly after the first morning's meetings the next day. Captain.
Miss Stivlitz.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't be of any more help to you. I handed in my resignation this morning.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
It was made clear to me that my resignation would be well received.
What happened?
Well, I'm not sure. I did as you advised. I didn't push the matter. I just started looking into the meeting files, which I have every right to do. But I found that my passcodes weren't being accepted. And while I was trying to, maybe I'd forgotten them, or maybe the end of the conference had messed around with everyone's access codes. And anyway, while I was trying to deal with that, I was called into a meeting with Ikarishil and told that he would accept my resignation. And I said I didn't think I was, had done anything that warranted a resignation. And he said, if you don't feel that way, then I shall have to terminate your employment. And obviously that would be a black mark in my record, and I didn't.
No, but how terribly irregular.
It was very strange. He was very irritable when I questioned him about the change of heart, but no more irritable than normal. And I didn't press the issue. I hope I'm slightly better at my job than not to know when to stop pressing the issue. Apparently, at some point between our conversation at dinner and my attempt to access the logs later, he'd revoked my access.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. I don't enormously know what to say. What are your immediate plans?
Oh, like I said, I'm connected. To be honest with you, I'd quite like to work somewhere where my employment isn't a favour owed to my brother.
I can understand that.
And
yes.
Working for a former Federation president looks great. I was not terminated from my role. I will be fine. I accept. I accept that it seems as though you've inadvertently wronged me, but I promise you, I don't feel that way at all. The truth of the matter is, the more I looked into this, the more I realized Jaresh-Inyo, which I suppose I can say now, is a fundamentally quite dishonest man.
I fear that you are correct, and I truly believe that you are going to be rather better off out of this, and it's not simply because we have shared interests that I will say I think that you have good instincts, Ms. Stivlitz, and that counts for a lot, and I think that you should continue to listen to them.
Well, like I said, I can't be of any help in the specifics, but I can say this. I know that Jaresh-Inyo has a dedicated communications terminal in his quarters on the station that isn't patched through the station's communications array.
That may be very useful. Thank you for letting me know.
It could be perfectly innocent. It could be a hard line straight back to the Presidium, but I don't believe he has that kind of direct access to the executive branch.
That would be odd. Thank you for letting me know.
Since my credential has been revoked, I have to get the first civilian
Of
shuttle
course.
back to Sector 001. But, well, good luck in
And
your investigation.
thank you, and to you in wherever your path takes you.
Oh, thank you, Captain.
Guess I've got to find Foster.
Well, yeah. Like I said, you're probably on the sort of the morning coffee break.
Yeah, I'll find Foster because I'm not breaking into an ex-president's office yet. I say yet, I'd rather not do it at all, but I'm definitely not doing it unilaterally.
But also remember, Jaresh-Inyo for some reason really likes you, so it might be more of a grifting thing than a burglary thing. But yes,
thus far we have no reason to think he's been anything but a prick. We're not yet at justifying complete violations of his privacy.
no, at the moment it's simply mildly intriguing.
Yes.
Yes. Foster, as you know, has been talking with the other members of the Federation Foreign Service and trying to see if he can loosen Jaresh-Inyo's grip so that even if he stays entrenched, it doesn't matter too much. He's had some success there, but the truth is that they are worried about they're not worried about this exact moment. They're worried about 5 years from now when they start running for office and things like this. And Jaresh-Inyo still has influence over the Federation Council, who appoints high-ranking ambassadors. So yes, he's meeting some resistance there. In terms of the big problem, who the Federation should support, it seems both to you and Foster that the respective positions of the Federation and Starfleet have just become more entrenched. And it's now gotten to the point where discussions are happening, but everyone's having the same discussion. Everyone's citing the same clauses in the same treaties. Everyone's talking about the Federation Charter. And there are all sorts of theoretical arguments one way or the other, but no one seems to be able to defeat the very pragmatic argument that, to put it in a way Athan would never put it, we've got the good Romulans and the bad Romulans, and we know which Romulans we'd prefer to stay in charge. No one's saying it out loud except for Admiral Markievicz. He's absolutely saying it out loud. He says, look, the continuing committee have well, no, they don't have the Federation's interests at heart, but they have the interests of peace with the Federation at heart, and that is absolutely crucial. Admiral Markievicz is an old. He was a junior admiral during the Dominion War. He had just become an admiral at the start of the Dominion War. He has commanded fleets. He does not want to command fleets in war again. That's the entirety of his agenda. So yeah, you can find Foster quite easily, and you know the progress he has and hasn't been making.
Hit a bit of a brick wall on our end, sir.
Oh?
Well, my contact in Jaresh-Inyo's office has indeed confirmed that Jaresh-Inyo was once very pro the continuing committee and then very suddenly had a change of heart. That there was a window in which someone might have contacted him in that time. And after she looked into the matter, she found that she could not access those records and has since been let go from her position. The most she could pass on is that he does have some sort of dedicated comms interface in his quarters, which is not integrated into the station's communications network. But it does seem as if someone is influencing him, which is highly concerning, even aside from what they're influencing him to do.
Well, he shouldn't have a private communications device that's bypassing the station's array. I'll see if I can... An outgoing signal, even from a device that small, should still have been picked up by the station's sensors.
It should, and also I think we might have a little bit more leeway in sticking our noses in, considering there's recently been an attempted terrorist attack on board. Obviously, we don't want him to catch wind of it, but if we have to force any hands, that's an option. Alternatively, I suppose I could attempt to speak with him, but I really don't want to physically go behind his back and... No.
No. This is still someone with...
Rights.
rights? Well, he's a Federation citizen, has not, as far as we know, done anything illegal.
Quite.
But he is presently an imbuggerance.
Yes, he is, which does suggest that we can at least utilize the rules against him, which, as you say, we can stick our noses into.
The communication devices against regulations. So
Indeed.
there is that. I'll see. Do you have any proof of the existence of this device?
Only the account of a junior staffer who is awaiting a shuttle back to Earth, and would, I suppose, I could get her to make an official report, but I have just rather lost her job, and whilst she's currently in an all right position from it, do we need it, do you think?
Oh, no. I was just thinking, does she know for sure that he's used it? But I think if I talk to the station's security chief on the premise of the attack, I might be able to convince him to show me all outgoing subspace signals that did not originate from the station's array.
Quite.
So someone's leaning on the president.
I suspect so. To the extent where he's denying having ever held a position that was pro the continuing committee.
Jaresh-Inyo's spine is made of wet cardboard. If I can prove that he does have a communications device, we wouldn't know what was said if it was used.
I see two possible avenues for us to take. One is to have enough information to convince Jaresh-Inyo to change, well, preferably bow out of the situation entirely, I think is the most appropriate one.
Agreed.
The second is to have enough information to make people to make people value his judgment somewhat less, even if it's just the indication of that he is waffling a bit. I'd rather do the former, because the latter starts to become embarrassing for all sorts of individuals, not least Jaresh-Inyo, but it's not my highest priority. But if he won't bow out of this, then the alternative is that people should not care what he thinks.
Maybe you should reestablish contact with him.
I suppose I can. What do you think? But I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to try to find out.
I don't think anything yet. But if I can prove that he has an unauthorized communications device, and if I can prove that he's used it, and if you're willing to bluff.
Yes. I see. Yes, Captain, I think I understand. Obviously, we need to make sure that nothing untoward is ever noticed, and that the integrity of the decisions being reached here are perfectly fine. So I'm very concerned, Mr. President, that we might have a situation which we don't want getting out of hand, and that there can be no appearances of impropriety. That sort of thing.
If I can confirm this device exists, if you can give him enough detail and make it seem like you know more than you do, I'd bet that he'd fold, but I am betting quite a lot.
If There are degrees of folding. There's folding where he tells me everything, and then there's he just withdraws from the matters before it becomes embarrassing.
That's true. That's true. If he's gone to these lengths not to upset whoever's leaning on him, he's not going to endanger whatever it is. He's not going to endanger his reputation any further, is he?
No.
In which case, let me go pull some strings with the security chief. I'll leave you in charge of the team here. And then
We'll
you
see.
can try a bit of Poirot. Oh, Poirot was a fictional detective who would often elicit confessions by claiming to know more than he did. He had a lovely mustache. Right. Leave it with me.
Yes, Captain.
Poirot.
Fucking Terrans.
Otherwise,
Our eccentric culture.
he can't reference culture between the year 2000 and the year 2400 because there hasn't been any, so he can only reference the past. Every human went to sleep between the year this was produced and the year it's set.
Necessarily true. I guess he's allowed to reference culture if he's made a list of 3 things and the first 2 were pre-21st century things.
You'll very rarely hear me praise the J.J. Abrams Star Trek films, so enjoy this nugget of pure diamond for what it is. But in the 3rd film, where
That's a good one.
is it McCoy, and he says, oh no, it's Spock. Says, is that classical music? That got an out loud laugh from me. I'll give you that, Abrams, you hack. I will give you.
I
was the
believe the way
movie
that line went was it was McCoy goes, "Are they listening to classical?" And Spock
music,
goes,
yeah.
"I believe they are."
Yeah,
I mean,
that
might have
was
something to do with
good.
the fact that Abrams had little to do with Beyond.
That's true.
Yeah,
actually, and
I suspect that's probably that one was probably a
and
Simon Pegg line
strangely
rather
enough,
than an Abrams line.
I enjoyed Beyond
Beyond's
quite a
fine.
bit. Yeah,
Why
I
is
enjoyed
it that in trilogies of beloved franchises, it's the one that he hasn't got his grubby fucking mitts on? It's the best one.
It's interesting, isn't it? I wonder if there's a trend there. So let's go back to the, I'm going to say beta quadrant, which I think is where the Romulans
Yes, you're correct.
are. Let's go back to the beta quadrant. I've seen some maps where Earth is exactly on the border between the alpha and beta quadrants, but they
Yes, it
always,
is.
but when they refer to Earth, they always talk about the alpha quadrant. Like, oh, you're being a bit alpha centrist there, aren't you? But I think Sol is smack bang on the meridian.
Yes, it is.
Because it always is, obviously.
It was probably designed by Earth, the designations.
Yeah. So I think. So some time is passing. It's becoming clear to you that your Romulan adversary is not immediately returning to the fray. The shuttle has returned. Repairs are underway. Repairs to the Iskandar are underway. So
Tell Talandra everything.
you tell Talandra everything. Before we get on with the lovely drama,
No.
Strange, could you roll engineering for me?
Make you feel more at home.
Hold on a moment. I was going to say something about this. What was I going to say? Roll engineering. This is to roll to determine how much of that damage you repair. So if you want to do some fate point spending to, ensure that, then that's what this is.
Do I want to?
If it helps you to know, I don't mind telling you exactly how the system works. Essentially, to every 2 that you roll, you can reduce a damage down by 1.
When you say reduce the damage, is that removing
So
one of the boxes that we have ticked?
Yeah, so you have a minor damage and a moderate damage. If you wanted to get rid of both of those, then you'd have to roll +6 at least. That's the context this roll is.
Okay, I rolled +6.
Well, then I have good news for you. So
we'll take that, and I
so-
won't spend any few points.
Yep. So the shield emitter has had some components replaced, meaning the shields are now stable, and you have put temporary duratanium barricades over the hull breach on the crew quarters, and you didn't take any stress, so you don't have to worry about that. And you, your shoal risk is off because you can just trivially, outside of combat, you can just reset your warp field and reposition.
Rub a science boy on it and
Rub a
goes
science
right.
over it and see what happens. That's essentially it.
Casey,
Just
come here.
smear Casey all over the hull until the problem is fixed. So yes, Terlandra, you have just received the full battle report from Lieutenant Vance. I think the two of you are probably in the ready room.
Sorry, my brain's literally stopped. I
I
started
thought that
about,
was just a long stare. I thought that was Terlandra.
I started about 8 sentences and I was discarding them, and then I got to the end of that thinking process, and then I went, "You've been thinking for a really long time."
I think we all just thought Terlandra was gazing out into
Yeah.
space.
The problem of a Vulcan roleplay, it's like, yeah, this is all real and happening.
They would react the same way to news that their spouse was pregnant as 13 people have done. They go, understood.
I really want a script writer right now because it's hard. I don't know why I didn't think we were starting with me. Shut up! I don't know. What a senseless loss of life.
Yes, Commander.
You did exceptionally in the circumstances.
Thank you, Commander.
You were there at the end. What do you believe our next steps are going forward?
Honestly, I think it depends on what leads we have of any indication of what's happened to the Baranike's crew.
The only leads we have are in Dr. Light's hands.
I think we need that answer because, frankly, if there are Romulans in this part of space looking for trouble, we need to notify Starfleet, and we're damaged. And if they've got any friends, we're going to have a real bad time. And so essentially, unless we've got a real hot lead where we can do something very shortly and quickly to rescue or help any survivors of the Baranike, I think we need to get the hell out of here, ma'am.
Talandra to Lieutenant Strange.
Stranger, go ahead.
What is our time frame on being mobile, Lieutenant?
Well, most of the damage is at least patched up enough that we can get going. I haven't seen any damage to any of the engines, so I don't see a reason why we can't just go.
Understood. Make us ready.
Aye, Captain.
Beta Captain.
Talandra here, go ahead.
I am pleased to report that Captain Redan is awake and has requested to speak with you.
Very well. I'll be right down.
Understood.
You want me there, Commander?
Please.
You go to sickbay. As you go in, you can see Redan in a medical gown. He's sitting up on the bio bed. He does seem a little bit woozy. Dr. Light approaches as you enter. Just so you know, I would not tax Captain Redan overmuch. He is still recovering from the coma he attempted to place himself into, but he seems to be of broadly sound mind. I simply would prefer if you did not tire him out.
Of course, Doctor, I shall do my best. Redan.
Talandra. I remember you. It's good to see you again.
The feeling, while not mutual, is reciprocated.
Good one. I remember that sense of humour. I was about to say the academy seems like a lifetime ago, but I suppose it was. Sorry, the symbiont is... It's finding its way back into my mind. My memories are a little out of order. Your doctor says I didn't do it any damage, or at least any lasting damage. Well, that's good.
The symbiote is hardy, and Dr. Light is a very talented doctor.
He told me about the ship.
What happened, Radan?
What happened is I'm a fucking fool. I'm so ashamed. We briefed on our mission.
I didn't know if they had a mission. I thought
You
they were
were.
doing regular
No,
scans.
there's a signal coming from the system that looked
oh.
that looked like it might have been artificial, and they were checking it out.
Yes, I do remember that now. Somewhat, yes.
Well, my orders were to verify whether the signal was artificial. I wasn't meant to get too close, but there was something in the signal. But we couldn't... My science officer said that if we got within an AU of the source of the signal, maybe we could try to resolve it. Maybe we could try to verify its source. There was something about it that it was almost intelligible. I think it was artificial. I think it was Romulan. Anyway, we moved in closer. Oh, my crew's dead.
Are you certain of that?
The Romulans didn't board us to take prisoners. Half my ship sheared off. I'm sorry, Radan. You deserved better than a court-martial. We approached the source of the signal. We thought we compensated for the gravitic shoal, but apparently it's more prominent in some parts and it can flare up. We didn't stand a chance. Last I knew, the ship wasn't torn in half, but the warp field had completely collapsed. And the power surge had knocked out thrusters. So we were going nowhere. We were trying to make repairs when the Romulans appeared. Wait, there was a Vulcan. Sorry, there was a Vulcan, a missionary, a pilgrim. We'd rescued her some hours before, repaired her ship, it was about an hour before the Romulans, maybe less. God, I hope she's all right.
Lashar is on board this vessel.
You picked her up?
We did. She was not forthcoming about your presence in the shoal.
No?
She claimed to the lieutenant here that you instructed her not to.
I suppose I might have done. I don't remember. I can't think why we're not doing anything secretive. Maybe I said something back then. My memory of the last few hours before the coma is it's very difficult to focus on. I can't think off the top of my head why I would have said such a thing. It's possible.
She's claiming that she has just travelled from Romulus, and this might have been wanted by the Romulans. Does that ring any bells? Does that
again?
Not the slightest, I see.
Again, I the last I heard, she's from Vulcan.
Commander, permission for me to go and have Miss Lashar moved to the brig.
What did she do when she was aboard your ship, Captain?
She was never really aboard my ship. We brought her shuttle into our bay. It had suffered some damage to its EPS relays, some minor ODN shunt damage. We offered her some replacement parts. She had no knowledge of engineering whatsoever, so I had my crew fix her up. She was in the shuttle bay the entire time. She was only on board my ship for an hour or two while the repairs took place. If she's a criminal, it's news to me. She didn't seem completely aware of the danger of being in the system. I'm not sure if she knew about it or just seemed to think that a small enough ship would be able to survive, but I think it's very stupid of her to be there without... Well, I just don't think it was a particularly good idea, but I don't think she's got anything sinister in mind. Anyway, the Romulans opened fire without warning. Well, what could we do? I diverted all the power into the shields. We became a stationary fortress for a time, but we're an Intrepid-class starship. Without mobility, we may as well have been firing hand phases out of the portholes. After our primary systems were disabled, we thought, well, we'll be destroyed. I ordered abandoned ship. Escape pods don't generate a warp field. They were probably more likely to survive on an escape pod than they were floating on a derelict. No one made it to the escape pods. Do you know the crew complement of a Valdor-class warbird, Captain? Well, let's put it this way. There were more Romulans on my ship than there were Starfleet. They went deck by deck, room by room, before we could react. It's only because I was already in sickbay being treated for an injury that I managed to shelter there in time. I don't know if anyone else managed to reinforce where they were. I know the Romulans tried to get in and failed. My security chief phaser welded the door, I think. But she'd already taken a fatal disruptor wound. She wasn't long for the world, and in the end, all I could think to do was preserve the symbiont.
An instinct that has been invaluable.
I couldn't even self-destruct. They were at the computer core before I even thought I had to.
The only thing, Captain, that is of a use words, use real words, use human words, use Vulcan words. I don't care. Just... The only thing that is curious, Captain, is that we found you barricaded in sickbay with a number of members of your crew. But there was nobody else aboard your vessel.
No. No, there wouldn't be.
Why'd you say that?
Because the Romulans' disruptors were at full power, Lieutenant. $143. Good people, you know.
Yes.
With a fool for a captain. But look, it might well be that I'm not fit for this uniform. But I didn't do it for no reason. The Romulans are up to something, Talandra. It starts and ends with that signal. Why would they fire on us? We're allies, aren't we? We're 4 light years from the neutral zone.
I believe the same Romulans, or similar Romulans, opened fire on us.
I know that protocol demands you leave. Contact Starfleet. But something is going on here. And a fleet can't enter this system. I can't tell you what I think I should do. You know what I thought I should do, and you know what it cost me. So that's all I'll say. But I've got to write 143 letters when I've got my right mind returned to me. And when I write them, they're all going to say that it was all in the line of duty. That they died for the good of the fleet and for the good of the Federation. Because that's what I'm supposed to write. I would like it to be as close to true as possible. I know that you do not feel as I feel, Talandra. But I remember you. And I know that Vulcans have a sense, well, I won't call it honor, but integrity. When my treatment here is finished, would you allow me to be confined to quarters instead of the brig? Captain to captain.
Captain Radan, I have no intention of putting you in the brig.
Thank you. I've decided I will resign my commission, but only after the court-martial. Until then, I intend to remain, for all the good it's ever done me, an officer. So I thank you for that.
For as long as you are aboard this vessel, you are a Starfleet captain, and will be treated as one. And for what it is worth, it is true, I do not share your connection with your emotions. Nor do my people wed our identity to a sense of honor. But Karis Zal is aboard this vessel. If you wish to speak with her.
It would... I don't know what it would be to see Zal again, but...
I believe that he has suffered as you have suffered. And although I do not believe it is healthy to base one's growth on shared pain, I'm aware that for some it is a useful place to step from.
Perhaps when I'm feeling a bit more myself.
I may well have more questions, but get some rest.
Thank you.
Talandra turns on her heel and strides business Vulcan style out of sickbay.
Tag along.
This is the captain to all officers. Officers meeting in my ready room. Seems, Lieutenant, we have a decision to make.
Yep. That's something I'm not really going to want to say in front of the rest of the senior staff, but...
Then we shall take the long way.
Yeah, it's fairly short. I understand why Captain Radan wants to make the personal in treatment. He's lost his crew, and the idea... I understand exactly where the idea that they shouldn't die for nothing came from. But to be perfectly blunt, I don't believe our decision should be based upon that. Us going or not going will not make anyone's death more or less meaningless. Trying to find meaning in death is a fool's errand, in my experience. I prefer to philosophically draw more meaning from people's lives than their deaths, but just if you want to make that particular logical pitch at motivation, I'm gonna have your back in that one, Commander.
Lieutenant Vance, I am unaware of a single time that I have used a emotional argument when a logical one already exists.
No, sorry, that wasn't my suggestion. My suggestion was, in this case, I'm not going to disagree with you.
I find it is always satisfactory when humans and Vulcans agree on the correct application of emotion.
We like to find meaning, and sometimes there isn't meaning, and then sometimes we just have to live with that. But yeah.
Conference room.
There are Lotus biscuits and everything.
Hell yeah.
Let's be a serious meeting.
Talandra will relay will have relayed the finer points of what Radan said about the signal and that. I'm not repeating it. And so that is the option before us.
Hmm.
Well, all right. If we go and we run into any more trouble, and we fail, the risk is beyond just the risks of this ship. It means that Starfleet has absolutely no idea that Romulans are committing acts of war and murdering Starfleet officers.
I'm wondering if there's a way that we can remotely, without getting close to the actual, without getting the Iskandar itself close to the source of the signal, send something small up to it to get as much information as we can while keeping ourselves out the way.
I fear that the variable that we need to compensate for in such an occasion would be the shoaling itself.
I was considering that as being the major factor in making that a problem.
I'm prepared to see what we can do in terms of our resources to try a remote approach, but I'm not sure there's anything that is within our capacity that the Bereniki could not have done themselves. If they had to get close, the likelihood is we will need to get close as well.
I have apprehension that we have no conception of enemy forces. They may have only sent, if there are more of them, they may have only sent one Valdor, because one Valdor should normally be enough to deal with an Intrepid class, and it was in the case of the Bereniki. And even that aside, we winged them if they're out there and if they're spoiling for a fight. I'm not sure that we can guarantee that we still have any kind of upper hand.
There's therefore two unknowns. The unknown of what Starfleet will be capable of if we fall in this shoal, and the unknown of that signal, and what it could mean if left unchecked. For Captain Radan is correct, no fleet can arrive here, and if we escape, the Valdor will know about it. And the likelihood of them reinforcing the beacon grows. Furthermore, should two Starfleet vessels, Intrepid classes, be lost in a shoal in the neutral zone, weeks apart from one another, I believe that will be suspicious enough for Starfleet to take note.
There is still the time lag between our disappearance, if it comes to that, and the rest of Starfleet investigating enough to know exactly why and how that happened.
there is an option we can do to circumvent that. Take the opposite approach. Rather than sending something remote into the shoal towards the signal, send something remote out. Mask it as shoal distortion. Give it a fighting chance to get out. Something that, once it's out of the shoal's area of effect, it's a Starfleet frequency that can be picked up, a warning of what the Romulans are doing.
Or, a shuttle.
I was just thinking a shuttle would be better able to have a more secured channel.
True.
But yes, you could send something out of the shoal that's small instead. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
If Lashar... Oh, sorry. Izzy, you were muted? Can't hear you.
Fuck.
Oh, heard you.
Heard that.
Well, hot damn. Excellent work, Lieutenant Casey. You should begin work on that immediately.
Yes, Commander.
This Lashar, personally considering that Captain Radan has no recollection of who she is, whilst that can, of course, be explained by his injuries, I am currently inclined to suspect that she has just still been lying to us, which at this point makes me highly concerned about her as a security risk. If she is not deemed to be a security risk, she has managed to operate within the shoal without being detected or picked up by the Romulans. But frankly, I think either we're trusting her and sending her on our way to also give word to Starfleet, or throwing her in the brig. That's my recommendation.
We have access to her ship's scans and telemetry. It may well be that something can be extrapolated from that. However suspicious she may be, Lieutenant, I still believe there is no reason to put her in the brig. She is a Federation citizen.
She claims to be well, technically she's not. She's abandoned her Federation citizenship, and considering that there are acts of Romulan aggression whilst the story adds up, I have additional security concerns.
Then she will remain confined to quarters.
Yes, Commander.
Lieutenant Strange, if we come up against the Valdor again, what are the chances for the Iskandar?
From the reports I've heard about the damage that it's taken, the damage that we took, we would at least be starting the fight in a better position than the last one. It sounds like the Valdor took quite a beating. But I don't know how much the Romulans will be able to repair it in that time, between now and when we meet it again. So I don't know how much of an upper hand that would give us to start off with.
I want you to put all your resources into the repair of the Iskandar, on our shields, on our mobility.
Aye, Commander.
Lieutenant Casey, once the shuttle is primed and ready to leave the Iskandar, I want you to focus all of your attentions on scanning that beacon.
Yes, Commander.
Dismissed. Lieutenant Vance, in the meantime, you may increase your security detail on Lashar. I intend to speak with her. It may well be that something changes after that.
As you say.
Furthermore, Lieutenant, says Talandra, sort of Columboing as everyone's left the room. I have looked over the logs and records of the combat with the Valdor. Your command of a Starfleet vessel in combat is exemplary. Should we face the Valdor again, I wish to be the helm officer.
You are the first officer.
I am the first officer of this ship, but I spent the last 30 years as a combat helm officer. And Ensign Helmsley is very well trained and a suitable second helm under Lieutenant Kantos. But if we end up in combat, that may not be enough. I am aware that it is unorthodox.
You can take the helm, but if I can call the shots from tactical, you can call the shots from helm.
Perhaps.
And under those circumstances, you can be in any damn position on the bridge you want because it's your bridge. You don't need my permission for that, Commander.
Given that you are first officer, I have always much preferred the consultative captaincy.
I agree with your reasoning.
It is something I often thought about during the war. I was not a first officer for any of it. I never had to command a vessel in combat. And given my dedication to non-violence, I often wondered if it would force me to hesitate. I am somewhat moved by Captain Radan's plight. And find myself concerned that I will not be a good enough captain to get the Iskandar through this mission. I am not Captain Athan.
Sorry, Vance says, neither am I, which briefly cracks
And
me
then
up.
stares into the camera. Wink.
Commander, before today, if you asked if I was qualified to command any starship, let alone an Intrepid class in a battle against a Valdor class, I would have said that I indubitably am not. You will have the same, if not a better, bridge crew available to you than I did, because frankly, the most sensible thing I can do is credit them with it. I had not commanded a starship into battle before today.
Very well then.
And
if you have no complaints about me commanding from the helm.
I commanded from tactical, Commander. It's just as unorthodox.
There are many more recorded incidents of captains commanding from helm or tactical, sometimes operations. Weapons, tactical, sometimes operations.
No, I understand. Truthfully, yes, Captain Radan's assessment did give me food for thought as well. But I think that can wait until, or if we get out of this place.
Indeed. Should we get out of this place, we will have much to discuss regarding Captain Radan's future. But depending on what that signal is, and what the Romulans are doing, we must be willing to do what is necessary.
I agree. My caution is honestly because I feel that that's a first officer's position.
I would accept no less from you, Lieutenant Vance. But know that I am not being incautious.
I do not think you are.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one.
Yeah, I think I could spin a lot of manis, but you're right.
Very well. With your permission, I will attend on our guest.
With your permission.
My prisoner.
You are in command of this vessel.
My prisoner.
You can't keep tossing response. Poor Lieutenant Vance.
No, it's a courtesy.
She was being a okay. If it's chill with you, bro, I'll stop in on your prisoner.
No. Shan't.
Okay, I'm gonna do it anyway, cause Captain.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
beans.
didn't invent the chain of command.
Legit. Talandra is trying to be.
It's his sphere of responsibility, which she is technically poking. Technically poking.
Yeah, technically poking. That's the term. Right, let the kids do some science or whatever.
Okay.
Or no, or let Athan do some politics or whatever. I just meant scene.
Okay.
Scene over.
I was going to do another scene with Talandra if that was okay.
Fuck. Yeah, I'm back. I can continue to be Talandra.
Just a second.
Oh, no, you got me all fired up.
So as you're striding off towards your ready room, you get a communication. Who is it? Oh yeah, Ensign Soze to Captain.
Talandra here, go ahead.
Our guest is requesting a meeting with you, ma'am.
In her quarters?
Your ready room will be more traditional, ma'am. More in line with protocol.
Is it? Because I thought if someone was confined to quarters, like letting them out because they
Confined to
fancied a meeting.
Confined to quarters means they go nowhere without your permission and nowhere without a security crew. It doesn't mean they go nowhere.
Fair enough. That's an Izzy mistake, not a Talandra mistake. Very well, I will meeting.
Yeah, and you also increased the security details. She's actually got 4 guards with her now. So a regular band of lictors escorting her through the ship.
Zal punches her in the head.
Captain, the increased escort is not necessary.
You wish to speak
In
with me?
what way have I offended Lieutenant Vance on this occasion?
Is that what this meeting is about, Lashar?
No, I believe that the Iskandar recently was in an engagement against Romulans. It is imperative that we leave the system.
Your recommendation is noted.
It is a very strong recommendation.
Then it is strongly noted.
When I was leaving Romulan space, I heard a rumor that the bulk of the Romulan fleet was maneuvering close to the neutral zone. It seems to me that if the Iskandar were under attack by rogue forces, rendezvousing with an allied fleet would not be a bad idea.
Are there any other rumors you wish to share?
Not at this present time, Captain.
Remind me, Lashar, when you met with the Baraniki, It was the captain who requested you not tell us about your meeting.
Yes. As I said.
What was the reason given again?
Operational security, I believe, although I'm not quite sure what that means. I had informed the captain of my own difficult status.
Still, I'm sure it was a great weight on you to lie like that.
It is an uncomfortable thing to be deliberately dishonest, yes, but necessity sometimes dictates it.
Of course. And honesty is often relative.
I am not sure I take your meaning, Captain.
I believe I'm being philosophical. Thank you for coming to speak with me, Lashar. I appreciate your thoughts regarding the safety of this vessel.
All our safety, Captain.
Of course. I'm led to believe you had an explosive device aboard your ship.
I'm afraid so, yes. A necessary precaution when one is at strong risk of capture by Romulans.
Of course. And that has been deactivated now, I believe.
Yes. I was allowed access to my ship and took care of it.
Do you wish for us to rendezvous with the Romulan fleet?
No, I suggest that it might not be a bad strategic move.
But if the Romulan fleet are massing on the edge of the neutral zone, then any such rendezvous would necessitate us entering Romulan space. Given that communication within the shoal is borderline impossible.
I imagine once you leave the Rexical system, communications could be established relatively quickly, though you're aware of the capabilities of your ship far better than I. The Romulan fleet is only rumoured to be gathering, but if so, they would be less than 20 light years from here.
I mean, you understand the ways of the Romulans far greater than I do with your wealth of experience. It seems to me it would be something that they would not take kindly to.
Is the Federation not still allied with the Imperium?
Of course. But as you say, there are
The neutral zone
rogue
is something
elements.
of a formality after the end of the Dominion War, would you not say?
These formalities must be observed, however.
Perhaps, but it seems to me as if you would be able to assess the risk of meeting up with the fleet far more easily than you would be able to contend with rogue Romulan ships in the Raxicos system who do not answer to that fleet.
Of course. Nevertheless. Was there anything else?
I suppose not for the present moment.
And if there is anything else that troubles you, I urge you to bring it to me sooner rather than later, Lashar. I'm aware that, given your long meditation, memory can be difficult.
Excuse me?
That you had not remembered this rumor of the Romulan fleet?
Of course I remembered it.
Oh. Forgive me.
It was not relevant until now. Is there some requirement that I must divulge everything I have heard?
Not at all.
Until that time, Captain, this ship had not provoked the Romulans into attacking. Since now your presence has angered them, it seems as though a change in direction might be necessary.
Of course.
Captain,
Lashar.
if I may ask, you seem upset.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Something seems to have disturbed you.
My ship was very recently attacked by Romulan dissidents. I think there is no Captain Starfleet that would not find that troubling.
As I said, all the more reason to avoid it happening a second time. You're very lucky to have seen them off once. I doubt it will happen a second time.
Quite so.
And as I expressed to Lieutenant Vance, as long as I am on board your ship, you will continue to be in danger. They are hunting members of the unification movement actively. So either we all go together, or perhaps you let me go and I can slip out of the system without causing any further disarray.
Should that become necessary, I will bear it in mind.
I believe, Captain, something I have done has offended you. Remember, although I have lived among Romulans for 20 years, I was raised on Vulcan. I can see when one's mask slips.
You are an unknown agent in the middle of a great deal of chaos.
I have tried to make my presence known, though I admit I have only done so gradually. But I see now that the best way to engage with Starfleet is directly.
As has often been the way.
I have done nothing to break your laws. And though you now know that I am not a Federation citizen, you have every right to release me from my political asylum and send me on my way. Especially since you have information that my presence on board your ship may endanger the lives of your crew. Logic dictates your most sensible course of action is either to release me and set me free on my way, or to hand me over to the Romulan authorities, which I would, of course, formally object to, but quite understand.
Quite so. It would be very distasteful for me to hand over someone who has requested political asylum.
Only to an enemy, Captain. The Romulans are not your enemy, are they?
They have made no such formal request for you to be handed over, therefore I have nothing to consider. As regards my position as commander of this vessel, I can see that from your perspective, that would be the logical course of action.
It might also be beneficial for external reasons, Captain.
Bashar, if you have anything more you wish to say to me, I would urge you to do so swiftly.
She opens her mouth to speak, and the ship is rocked by weapons fire. The red alert siren sounds. To be continued.
Lashar put her in the way of the weapons fire?
Out you go.
Oh my
Into
God.
photon torpedo.
Thank you. I enjoyed that. I enjoy being an obtuse Vulcan in the face of
I like slightly upsetting Vulcans, so we both got what we wanted.
moderate upset.
I note with no emotional attachment, but some sense of distant satisfaction. I have annoyed you. This is noted.
Because you're full of shit, lady.
Hey, Lashar's great.
Look, I want to. I want. It's hard for me. I started off the session. It's difficult to pick up your Vulcan words. It's hard to make the Vulcanisms come, and then it is noted. It's a strong suggestion. Then it is strongly noted. Kind of. That made me feel very warm inside.
That was phenomenal. That was
good.
that
I
was
did like
excellent.
that.
Vulcan sass is very important to my people.
That was very good.
It's Vulcan culture.
So this wasn't the last. This wasn't the last part.
Huzzah!
Good job. I kept that word from the promos just in case something like this happened.
Because the next time
Yeah.
we'd have to be like naming Photoshop documents. Be like, the last, absolutely final, the last episode, yes.
So
Last
next week.
episode's bracket 1.
Yeah, next week it seems likely to be, but it's not certain. Nothing's certain. It depends how
Possibly to
long
assume.
this next combat takes and what progress is made on other fronts. We're not in a rush. We're not in a rush to get to the finish line. The mystery of Lashar continues.
I like her. I think she's great.
She's
I
not
think
meant.
she's great, but she's a spy.
I
She's
just
a
saw
Romulan-
Lou in chat called her Le shit.
Dude.
that's dumb, but I love it.
That's culturally insensitive.
It's not
Um,
because she's culturally appropriating from you because she's a spy.
She's not a spy. If she were a spy, she'd surely be better at it than this, right?
We don't know what else she's done. We've just been.
True. She definitely did disable that explosive device, though, so you're okay there.
Yeah, just because she's a spy who doesn't want to die doesn't mean that she's not a spy.
Interesting. So yeah, that's your lot for this
Wah.
episode. Thank you for watching the continuation of Occam's razor, which would be a useful tool to employ in this situation to cut away excess entities. Naming no entities in particular, Lashar, I suppose. That's it from me. We don't have anything else coming up, do we?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Love for the world.
Yeah, the world's
Aw.
great. There will be more Gentlemen Strangers one day, but March is not a good month for Gentlemen Strangers to resume, so it probably won't be March.
But we have a lot of projects in the works.
Loads of projects in the works, some of which we might share with you, many of which will just be private and we'll laugh at you and go, haha, they can't see this because we're
Yeah.
not streaming.
Yeah, Mike, we won't tell them about the secret thing.
It's all under wraps, baby.
Oh, yeah. Get wrecked, audience.
Fuck you, audience.
We
Yeah.
don't really know how this streaming thing works.
Yeah, thanks so much for your support, you jags.
You idiots. You don't even know.
It's called being content creators, not content showers.
Yeah. We make loads of content that you don't deserve.
Yeah. Are you enjoying this section where we just berate the
Hang on,
trash fan?
why am I getting 20 notifications from Patreon? Oh no, those aren't good.
They're all
Oh.
gone.
Oh no.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't reload this tab and just read the list as is, because it will just be more depressing every
It's
time.
just me and Helena handbasket.
Woo! Well, that's all we need, provided I can say a stupid thing about your name.
Actually, yeah,
and
you can
Helena
take-
Handbasket.
You can take all the usual time spent reading other people's names and
Hang
just
on.
dedicate them specifically to Michael's name.
Hang on, you said it's just you and Helena Handbasket. One of our patrons is the armchair Egyptologist.
No,
Yeah.
I've gone. I
Luke!
don't.
Yeah.
As soon as you said get wrecked, I unsubscribed.
He objected to the stance he and others took.
Look, he's a man of his principles.
I find it personally offensive that I should be allowed to say anything. I demand my immediate removal from the trash crew with full apology. But I will not apologize for it. My freeze peach.
My freeze peach. Oh god. So that being said, that's a neat little segue into a celebration of a list of names of people that we have. If you're one of these people, we're sorry that we're like this, but also you love it. You filthy
We love-
animals.
Slag.
You love it, you slags.
Slags! Oh, I'm sorry, we're still on the berating
Wait a second.
portion.
Trash slags. That does sound quite
Trash
good.
sl- So this
Oh,
week,
shit.
the trash slags are.
Oh no, hang on. So get in the comments, vote. Which was worse? The time we called you slags or the time you called us Nazis? I know which one I'm more comfortable with.
Get in
I'm
the
not
comments. So, from us, a bunch of fascists, to you, a bunch of slags. Get your trash bags in the chat ready for this list of excellent and unfortunate people. The Armchair Egyptologist, Ken Poyner, Kiwi Tokoeka, Photosynthetic, definitely a slag. No, photosynthetic's a slatin. They know what that means. Eligos Alexander, Liz Murphy, Michael Kreese, Andrei Cherepnin, Joe, who's lovely and not a slag, Lou Sutcliffe, Socky, Henry Prestige, Caffeine Kitty, Hobbs 138, Slagburn.
Hmm.
Huh.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. All right. All right, slag burn.
I've never felt more betrayed than hearing Kath laugh at that.
It was unexpected.
Was it though?
I wasn't expecting.
Was it
simple
unexpected
but
though?
elegant variation on a theme.
Izzy is a brute force humor kind of gal.
Uh-huh.
You know when something's dumb but you laugh anyway.
Yeah, me and Roomba. One of us spent the whole session giggling about the word aft, and one of us just called our friend slag burn.
But after still
To
funny.
his face.
To his face. James Muffy Beloy. Mike Fielding. I nearly called him Slag Fielding. Mike, I'm so sorry. I've got slag on the brain now. Mike is Mike Fielding is lovely and deserves only affection. Michael Bowman, and of course, everybody's favouritely named member of the Trash Fam, the excellent, the slag-tastic Helena Handbasket.
You really thought about saying slag basket, didn't you? Like, just right up to the last second, you were thinking of saying slag basket. I could see the cogs turning in your mind.
I'll never tell. And a special round of applause this week, everyone, for Ensign Josiah Helmsley and Ensign
Kingston.
What's his first name?
Kingston.
Good, because I was going to say Ensign Warpley. So I'm glad.
Ensign Walter Kingston.
Who might be a crewman, I don't remember.
No. Kingston's an ensign.
The ranks
says-
are on there.
We defined him a rank.
Actually, it says petty officer here.
Yeah, we'd have to go back to stasis.
Someone got an off-screen promotion.
I did. It's on there. It's all.
Someone's done the Starfleet Academy correspondence course and got a pip in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
I love you a lot for Helmsley has a first name, Ensign Josiah Helmsley, the other northern man on the bridge.
It's Bradley Kingston.
There we
Is-
go.
Bradley.
He's a
Walter's his middle name.
Bradley May Kingston.
Freya McFuzzles, I approve enormously of polyslags.
Helmsley has a first name, and so does Ensign Soze. He's Ensign Chesney Soze.
Nope.
Sorry.
Chezzy.
Chezzy
Ches-
Soze.
Chezzy
Nicola
and
Chezza.
Chezzy
No,
and Jazza.
it's got to be Chezzy.
Chezzy.
He's got to be Chezzy, and he's got to have a Scottish accent, because that's how this works.
Oh no, I've just also realised that the profanity filter kept picking up the word slags, and
Yeah.
I'm very sorry to Michael for having to do that.
Our audience is trying to engage with us in this really bad way we encouraged.
I can say it. The power!
I could ban you.
Oh.
I'm not gonna. We should go.
Anyway, yeah. Thanks. Thank you for this. Thank you, you slags.
Live long and prosper.